Anthropic, the AI safety company that built its entire brand around being the responsible alternative to Elon Musk, just signed a deal to use Elon Musk's computing infrastructure. DeepSeek is about to become a $45 billion company, and Google quietly killed one of its most hyped AI agent projects. Today's AI industry is stranger than fiction. Here's what we're covering today. First, Anthropic's surprising compute deal with xAI and what it reveals about the GPU crunch. Second, DeepSeek's first ever funding round and the valuation that's turning heads. And third, Google pulls a plug on Project Mariner and what that says about big tech's agent ambitions. Let's get into it. Anthropic has signed a deal to use computing resources from xAI's Colossus supercluster, the same infrastructure Elon Musk built to train and run Grok. Let that sink in. Anthropic is a company that spent years positioning itself as a safety-first, responsible alternative to OpenAI and to Musk's approach to AI development. And now it's renting GPU time from him. This is not a minor operational footnote. It's a signal about how severe the compute crunch has become across the industry. When you're building frontier models at scale, you need massive GPU capacity. And right now, that capacity is scarce. Anthropic already has backing from Google and Amazon, but apparently that isn't enough. The demand for compute is outpacing supply so dramatically that even companies with deep-pocketed investors are going to unconventional sources. The uncomfortable truth this deal exposes is that in AI, infrastructure constraints can override ideological ones. When the choice is between slowing down your model development or renting capacity from your philosophical opposite, the math wins. Anthropic's principles haven't changed, but this deal makes clear that principles have limits when you're in an arms race. DeepSeek is raising its first outside investment round, and the numbers being discussed put its valuation at up to $45 billion. That places the Chinese AI lab in the same tier as some of the most valuable AI companies on the planet. What makes this story worth paying attention to isn't just the number, it's what the number represents. DeepSeek burst onto the scene in early 2025 when it released a large language model that matched the performance of top Western models at a fraction of the training cost. That sent shockwaves through Silicon Valley and triggered a genuine rethink of how much compute you actually need to build a frontier model. Now investors are pricing that efficiency advantage at tens of billions of dollars. This is the first time DeepSeek has taken outside money, which means the lab has been operating almost entirely on internal resources until now. A $45 billion valuation on a first round is extraordinary by any standard. It also raises a strategic question. What does DeepSeek do with outside capital when its entire competitive identity is built on doing more with less? That tension will be worth watching. Google has shut down Project Mariner, its experimental AI agent designed to browse the web and complete tasks on your behalf. The project went offline on May 4th, and the landing page now simply says, "Thank you for using it." Mariner launched with real ambition. It was part of Google's push into agentic AI, the idea that your AI assistant shouldn't just answer questions, but should go out and do things for you. Booking appointments, filling out forms, navigating websites, the kind of tasks that eat up real time. But it never made it out of the experimental phase. This is worth flagging not because one project failed, but because of the pattern it fits into. Google has a well-documented history of launching products with fanfare and then discontinuing them before they reach maturity. In the agent space, execution matters enormously. Users need to trust that the tool will still exist tomorrow before they build workflows around it. Every time Google kills a project like this, it chips away at that trust. The question isn't whether Google can build impressive AI demos, because it clearly can. The question is whether it can ship things that last. 3 stories today, and they're all pointing at the same underlying tension. The gap between AI ambition and AI execution is getting harder to paper over. Start with the Anthropic deal. The fact that a company with billions in backing from Google and Amazon still needs to go to xAI for compute tells you everything about how tight GPU supply is right now. This isn't a story about Anthropic compromising its values. It's a story about an industry where infrastructure scarcity is now a first-order strategic constraint. Everyone is scrambling for capacity, and the companies that secure it will have a structural advantage regardless of how good their models are. Then look at DeepSeek. A $45 billion valuation on a first funding round is a direct rebuke to the assumption that frontier AI requires frontier spending. DeepSeek proved you can punch above your weight on efficiency, and now the market is rewarding that. But here's the irony. Taking outside capital at this scale changes the game. The pressure to scale, to spin, to compete on raw capability rather than clever engineering, that's what outside money brings. DeepSeek's efficiency edge may be its greatest asset, and also the thing most at risk once investors are in the room. And then there's Google and Mariner. The shutdown is a reminder that in the agent space, trust is the product. You can have the best underlying model in the world, but if users can't rely on your platform to still exist in 6 months, they'll build on someone else's. Google keeps demonstrating it can innovate. It hasn't yet demonstrated it can commit. So here's the question I want to leave you with. Does the Anthropic's deal with xAI change how you see the company, or is this just pragmatic survival in a resource-constrained industry? Drop your take in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. If you want sharp, no-hype AI coverage every single day, hit subscribe. We're here every day breaking down the stories that actually matter.